Shiva, when we talk of the Holy Trinity, life is created, life is sustained, life is destroyed, renewed, and regenerated. It's a constant cycle. We all are going to go through it ourselves. Everything you see around you is created in the same way. So the God that creates is called Brahma, the God that sustains life is Vishnu, and the God that rejuvenates life is Shiva. Shiva is where the whole practice of yoga came from. So story goes, way back when, Shiva, sitting up in the mountains, contemplating the cosmos of whatever a god can contemplate on, knew there was some frustration in life, and he wanted to figure out a way for not only him, but also the beings on the planet could get rid of their frustrations and their anger, rise above the illusion of life, or the cyclic cycle called samsara, and reach moksha, which is called liberation. So Shiva sat in meditation for eons and figured it out, and then he came down from his mountain to teach some yoga. So he went down to the village and he said, I'm going to teach everyone how to become whole. So everyone who has experienced some frustration and anger and sadness and sorrow, whether it was just regular common folk or kings and queens or goblins and ghouls, anybody that was frustrated with life came to hear what Shiva had to say. Basically, Shiva sits down under a big banyan tree and he says that we do one of two things. We tend to identify with our body, and that is our greatest mistake right there. Because what we should be doing is identifying with what is called the Purusha, the internal spirit that's inside of ourselves. But instead, what we're doing is we're identifying with the transient part of life, the body, the part of the stuff that we can see. Well, my body is going to get old and it's eventually going to die. So if you're always attached to something that's going to die, you are going to go up and down, happy to sad, over and over and over and over. So what he tried to describe was your own true nature of being. Okay, you're the part of you that is infinite, that is eternal, that has always been here, that is always perfect. That is the part that we want to start to identify with. And that is where all yogic practices are taking us to. They're connecting you to your true self. So in here, it's quite bright. It's quite, there's a lot of symbolism to it. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is his color. He's normally pictured either gray or blue. And the reason is this, is because he takes the ash of dead bodies and he smears the ash all over his body. And he does this to show that he is not attached to the transient part of life, that he's attached to the internal soul within inside himself, his consciousness. So he tends to make his appearance everything that society deems as unacceptable, and so on. So you'll notice he's also got lots of snakes slithering around his body, particularly venomous cobra snakes. And as you can tell, he's kind of got a gaze of ease and a hint of a smile, and he has a cobra wrapped around his neck. And the symbolism behind that is that he refuses to react to anything in this external reality. Meaning, there's no more fear of death, because really death is where our spirit is going back to, where we came from. So the ultimate fear is the fear of death, but when you start to understand where you came from and where you're going to go after you die, there's no more fear behind it. So not only just is he not scared of dying, he's not scared of any lethal creatures, he actually is not going to react to anything in this world that is going to shake him loose from his stable connection to his spirit. You'll notice he's got a cosmic third eye in the middle of his forehead. And again, this third eye, your intuitive center, is what allows you to see the difference between the truth and the illusion. And most of the time, we just see the eyes, the two eyes of duality, and that paints an illusion in front of us. Even Jesus said, when you stop seeing through the two and you start seeing through the one, truth will automatically come to you. So through his cosmic eye, he is a truth seeker. He has a crescent moon on the side of his head, meaning he's yoked his consciousness back to the way of the cosmos, meaning everything in life here is all part of cycles. I'm a part of the cycle. I grew up, I hit puberty, I became an adult, I'm going to become a senior citizen, I'm going to die at some point. There's weekly cycles, there's monthly cycles, there's yearly cycles around us. There are physiological cycles, our moods go up and down. Women have cycles. There are cycles everywhere in life. There's a cycle of birth, death, and sustenance in between. So he's understood about how the life comes in for a particular time in space to do something, to make an effect, and then to go back to the infinite from where it came from. Beyond that, all the symbols of the Kundalini and the snakes, beyond that, the snake sheds its skin every month, meaning it gets rid of the old to bring in the new. So symbolically, that's what also we're doing through yoga, meaning we're getting rid of the parts of us that no longer serve us in the long run, and we're bringing in the parts of us that are going to help us productively move forward. Lots of bright colors to represent that colorful transformation that we're going through. And there's also some skulls wrapped around the side and the bottom. These particular yogis that worship Shiva in India, they will go to a graveyard, they will find a freshly cremated body, and they'll take the skull, and they'll cut it, and they'll use the skull as a drinking bowl, in which they'll also eat out of. And again, they're using something which we would cherish, parts of the body, and they're using it to distinguish themselves that they're not part of the transient part of life, they're a part of the eternal spirit. So they do things which society deems as unacceptable. So a lot of them are naked, meaning I don't care what I look like because I'm not identifying with my outer appearance. They allow their hair to grow. That's what the word dreadlock means. It means dreadful. It comes from the Bible. Allow your hair to grow so it becomes dreadful looking, because you really don't care what you look like. Because really what you are is the energy inside your body. You're not just this outer appearance. So the skulls, what else can they talk about in terms of the skulls? A lot of the yogis will live in the graveyards, because the graveyard, or the place where they cremate the bodies in India, is the place where you see the most life coming and going from this reality to another reality. So the most holiest place to do your meditation is where people are going on to the infinite. Every day you've got people dying and coming, cremating their bodies and going on to the next realm. So they live in this area to remind themselves that, A, we're all going to die. Why are we so scared of it? And maybe if you start to understand the whole process of death and what you're doing here, you won't be so scared. My one yoga teacher, Hart Laser, says, all yoga is preparation for death. Everything that you can learn about life right now is going to prepare you for your transformation into the next life.